Pretty fitting that you've ended up back in Cambridge. It's where you started Systema all those years ago?
Yeah, started in the garage in Hall Street.
Yeah.
I used to play rugby for Leamington actually, and I used to run down to Cambridge Stud. It was 5 miles down and 5 miles back.
Oh wow.
And I used to run down 3 or 4 nights a week as part of rugby training. And I'd get down there and look over the fence. I never thought one day that you know, we'd own the property or whatever. But you know, great times in Cambridge.
And how did you two meet?
The company wasn't actually Systema then, it was the hanger company.
Yep.
Which manufactured coat hangers.
Okay.
And it was just getting started into manufacturing plastic containers. And I came into the business with a computer brain.
Okay. Yep.
And because in those days everything was manual.
Yep.
And we really came in teaching how
Technology.
to operate a computer.
Yep.
So, and also with Brendan, actually teaching him how to turn a computer on. He had absolutely zero experience with computers, and not so much better today.
Yep. Yep.
But that's how it all began. And then we formed Systema. The company was making bottles. It was called DGP, which meant damn good products. And
that's cool.
So we figured that if we were going to get serious with this business, it has to have a proper name.
Yep.
So we changed that to Systema.
Okay. Was it the career path you envisaged?
Well, we were lucky to have a turnover of what? You know, $2 million or something, if we were lucky to have a turnover there.
Yeah.
But it just grew and grew.
Both Jo and I are quite ambitious people, but we've got core values, and you know, we believe that we've certain things we believe in, and we believe in people and opportunities for people, that and loyalty and honesty and integrity and stuff like that. And you know, it makes life and business actually quite easy.
Yeah.
You know, when you do have core values. And you know, this game's a tough game, but I tell you what, it's a lot tougher for a lot of folk than it is for us. And you know, we enjoy their successes sometimes as much as we enjoy our own.
How did you first become involved in thoroughbreds?
For me personally, I grew up on a farm in New South Wales, and we all had horses, and we all rode horses to school. Horses were part of our lives, really. But growing up and then moving out from the farm and going and living in the city, it just all bypassed until sort of much later.
Yeah, well, my dad was a gambler.
Okay.
And he's probably not now because he's got too old, but you know, Boxing Day, going to the TOB at Paikokariki and putting a bet on. In those days, they used to write the thing out by hand. Dad was a good gambler and a very good judge of horses.
What about the first horse that you raced together?
Well, we were trying to work that out, and it was either a Sonnet, probably 18, 20 years ago, and then there was a horse called Bread and Butter.
So since then, there's been a massive journey, obviously, to where we are today, but just talk me through how it kind of expanded.
We were buying horses mainly through Russell Warwick, actually, racing with not a lot of success, but we just loved it anyway, and we decided that, and all of our horses were farmed at Westbury Stud, and we'd go out and have a look at them, but we never knew which paddock they were going to be in.
Okay, yeah.
And never really got kind of a little bit, you know, like tired of doing that. So we decided we'd buy 100 acres in Karaka. That 100 acres is now 500 acres.
Yep.
And a fully, a full racing facility farm and just the farm there.
We wanted to do something special for ourselves.
Okay.
It wasn't actually about everybody else at that. You know, it was just Jo and I felt that we wanted to, in the later years of our life, we wanted a property to go to, visit our horses, and we wanted it at a standard that, you know, we felt, somebody said it's like the Hilton.
Yeah,
you know?
luxury.
Yeah.
It is a bit luxury. It is a bit of a luxury farm.
We really enjoy it. You know, we're there on the weekends, we go out there as much as we can, and we've got a good group of people around us, and it's fun.
And then things have got a whole lot more hectic with the purchase of Cambridge Stud. Just tell me the path to end up here.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story.
Oh,
yeah.
Do the Henry?
No, we talked to Patrick about buying the business, and I rang Mark Chittick from Waikato Stud, and I said to Mark, Jo and I are thinking about buying Cambridge Stud. Who do we get to run it?
Yeah.
Because we can't run it.
We
Yeah.
can't run it.
We
Yeah.
have no idea how to do it.
He said, I've got a fellow sitting right next to me who's perfect. And I said, who's that? And he said, Henry Plumtree. And I said, well, ask him if he wants a job. And he goes, Henry, Brenda's on the phone. Him and Jo are going to buy a Cambridge Stud. Do you want to run it for them? And he goes, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
And that was it, and here we are, yeah. That's amazing.
And you know what? Sometimes when the marble, hit the slot,
Yep.
it's meant to be what's meant to be.
Yeah.
But when we bought the stud, Jo and I had never actually been on the property, even though we'd done the deal with Patrick, but
Yep.
we'd never driven around the property. We'd only ever been to the front gate
Yeah.
or to the
For the
yearlings.
braids,
Yeah.
And when we did the deal with Patrick, he drove us around and he showed us what we'd actually bought.
We go, oops.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And we didn't get any accounts from Sir Patrick. We didn't actually know all the horses, but it wasn't really about how much land, how many horses, about the money. It was about this property. How lucky are we to have an opportunity
Yeah.
to buy this business? I mean, it's just amazing.
I suppose a lot of people, when you sold Sistema, would have thought, now you can take it easy, you can relax, but you seem to have taken on something more. Yeah,
Exactly.
is that you enjoy the challenge? Obviously, that's what drives you.
Yes, I think we're both a little bit like that, where
Yeah.
we just have to keep going. And there's always something every day, and sometimes we sit and think, oh my gosh, we really do need rest.
Yeah, time out.
But when with having Henry come on board, we felt that great, we've now got Henry, we can just
Yeah.
take a back seat and let Henry do it.
Much more
Well,
manageable.
that lasted about a week. So, so we thought, oh no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
And here we are. So we're just full on day, on a day-to-day basis.
But you love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Challenges keep you younger. When you've got something to aspire to every day of the week, it gets you out of bed. And when you go to bed at night time, you've actually done something during your day. And the thing is there's still some things that we want to do.
Yeah.
We haven't finished yet.
Do you draw any comparisons to running Sistema and running Cambridge?
All business is about people. And I've always found that, if you hire people that are smarter than you and better than you, it's this better thing to do. A lot of people hire people that don't challenge them. But the thing about the businesses, and the same with Sistema, I always surrounded myself with people that are actually smarter than me, which allowed me to not so much get on their coattails, but when they did the right thing, I could take the credit, and where they did the wrong thing, I could blame them. Business is business. At the end of the day, we ran a very successful business. We exported to 110 countries around the world, as you well know, and we sold it through an opportunity that we were very lucky to get. Cambridge Stud's the same. If we play with a straight bat, we're consistent about our approach, we're consistent of the message that we give our staff,
Yep.
we tell them where we're taking our business and where our aspirations are, there's no reason why it won't come to another level.
And on the commercial side, it's very, very different. With the having the farm at Crack, it's all very private, and we just keep to ourselves and do our own thing. Don't really have to explain anything to anyone. But having this enterprise, it's a totally different way of doing business, and that's where the Sistema business sense comes in, because it is a business rather than a hobby like Karaka is really.
How did you kind of come around to that way of thinking, the commercial side of things?
Henry.
Okay.
Henry.
Yeah.
Well, Henry's very big on building relationships and socialising, and we realised very early on that Patrick had a lot of relationships that had been going for many years, and it was now our turn to build long-term relationships with breeders. So Jo and I are not big on the entertaining side, and we live a very private life, and we enjoy going to the races, but we enjoy going to the public bar more than we do to the committee room. That's a bit of a change for us. We are the face of Cambridge Stud, and it's a responsibility that we're not taking lightly. It's really hard coming behind somebody like Sir Patrick, who's had this magnificent career, to respect, the business and him and the stud and the founding stallions, etc., to make sure that you respect them the right way, so other people can also enjoy Cambridge Stud as much as we do.
How involved is he? Does he come back? Has he been involved?
Oh yeah, he's here all the time.
Yeah, he comes across. Yeah.
Well, he's got we foaled down some of his mares. He pops in. It's funny because he said to me, Brendan, he said, I hope you don't mind me telling the staff what to do. And I said to him, for goodness sake, of course we don't mind. I mean, the bloke's got 40 years experience.
Yeah.
I'd rather him tell them than me.
Yeah.
I think he was a bit shocked the first time he came onto the farm afterward, because the old office had already gone the
Yeah.
first time he visited, and there was this new building going up, and just all the changes on the farm. But now he's really he's engaged, and he really loves
engaged.
coming
He's
over.
really engaged.
Yeah.
He came down, looked at the Almain saw, and he said to me, I've got to tell you this. He said, this is the best looking stallion that's ever walked down the drive at Cambridge Stud.
Wow.
He said,
So-
I've got to congratulate you too.
That must have been you must have been, oh.
Yeah, we were, we were pretty damn happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
It's nice to get that rubber stamp from your peers.
Jardine the leader, about a neck in front of Double Glow close to home, and Jardine wins by a half length.
Would you call her the foundation mare?
We'd like to think so, really, because she, at the time when she was racing, she was probably she was our best racehorse, and we were able to take her to Australia.
There's quite a funny story about what you actually did to buy her. Can you just tell me sort of how you ended up with her?
Well, Peter Vella bought 20 mares and foaled to Danehill, which was the last of the line
Okay.
into New Zealand, and we were determined to get a Danehill mare, and I picked her out myself, and I said to Jo, we've got to buy this horse, and we didn't think we'd be able to buy her because of her breeding.
Okay.
But she actually failed the vet.
Ah,
And it was funny enough,
perfect.
John O'Shea said to me, I was standing looking at the horse at the outside parade ring, and John O'Shea said to me, he said, Brennan, he said, take no notice of that. He said, just buy the horse.
Okay.
And on the basis of that, we did, and we paid $400,000 for her, and at the time, we didn't have money.
Really, yeah.
And I rang the bank manager and I said, oh, we've got some good news and bad news. And he said, well, what's that? And I said, well, the good news is that you can lend us some more money.
Oh.
The bad news is I've got the security as a horse.
Oh, no.
But the thing about Jardine, although she only won one race, she took us to Brisbane, she took us to Melbourne, she raced in Sydney, and we raced at Hawke's Bay,
Yeah.
And she was group place, 7, 8 times?
Yeah.
7 times, yeah.
7
And
times.
she just tried her heart out, got better nose in the kilt, and we made a decision once Jardine retired off the track, because we had so much fun with her, that we would never sell anything, her or any of the progeny,
Oh,
and
okay.
we would just
Enjoy them. Yeah.
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 So we made that decision. We turned down a rather large offer for Sheriff,
Okay.
but the money would have been nice, but the reality is that we felt that we were giving away something that we could never
Could
get
have a bit
back.
of fun with
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
What have been some other racing highlights for you during your time in the industry?
Marky Mark winning the Group 1 down in Palmerston North. Dad was there.
Yeah.
I think that's the last time Dad went to the races. My brother and my nephews, and obviously, even winning our first Group 1.
Prince Jabil's got the favourite covered here. Peso's looking to run on late as well, but Prince Jabil to win the Pencarrow Stud City of Auckland Cup.
We've seen lots of horses come into the Lindsay ownership recently. Can we expect more horses now racing in the black and gold, or are they maybe going to see more going through the ring? How is that going to fit into the program here at Cambridge?
One of the very early conversations I had with Brendan and Jo was about the importance I felt of having a competitive racing stream. We go to the yearling sales in Australia. We did this year. We strategically bought 10 or 15 fillies from decent families. We've left 8 in Australia,
Okay.
some in Sydney, some in Melbourne, and the whole idea of that is to try and be involved in the prize money explosion in Australia. All of our trainers, we feel, are they're very capable people in their own right. 2 Kiwis, Chris Waller and Bjorn Baker. But we've also used John Hawkes. We've got a horse with Mick Price. We've got horses with Kieran Maher, David Hayes. It's to encourage them to come to New Zealand, keep coming to New Zealand. Most of them are regulars at Karaka, but it's very important that we maintain the relevance of the New Zealand thoroughbred industry and that sale. But at the same time, Brendan and Jo, being very patriotic Kiwis, they want to support the local industry. So We have given local trainers horses, and we've got a plan next year to give them a lot more horses.
Okay.
So I think reinvigorating the industry here, it's not a job for one person or
Yep.
one stud, but I think every stud would acknowledge that the local racing scene needs to be lifted to a different level.
Yep.
Because if you don't have a relevant racing program, you don't have a relevant breeding program.
Yep.
Because you've got no benchmark.
Okay. Yep.
But again, it all flows from that report, and from, you know, we feel that injecting the enthusiasm that Jo and Brendan have got at the same time,
Helps.
that's
Yeah.
you know, we're glass half full people.
Yep.
Brendan's a glass overflowing person. So that sort of enthusiasm is infectious,
Yeah.
and we hope that it infects everybody else.
Brendan, how difficult is it to honour the past of Cambridge Stud while still sort of putting your own twist on the farm?
Jo and I don't think that's that hard or that difficult. We've got the Sir Tristram statue here, and we've got the 2 grave sites with Sir Tristram and Zabeel, which remain,
Yep.
and obviously all the Group 1 winners. And over to the left here, we're going to build a museum
Okay.
for Sir Tristram and Zabeel,
Yep.
and it'll tie into the car park and the new office area, so people will be able to park here, walk across, see Sir Tristram and Zabeel, and come over to the new museum.
How involved have you been, Henry, in what's been going on here with regards to the new buildings and everything that we see?
Well, this is very much the hospitality centre, and the office is very much Brendan and Jo territory, and they've done a great job with it.
Yep.
I don't need to be involved with that. Horse buildings, Brendan went and took a team over to the Hunter Valley to look at the barns and which have been built on the various studs there.
Yep.
I also said to him, look at the human accommodation over there, because that was important.
Yep.
At the core of every good stud farm, there's a team of people, and
Yes.
in the modern world, you need to look after them properly. So,
Yep.
you know, the accommodation is, Jo and my wife Michelle are really upgrading the accommodation here. The old Cambridge batch was quite a famous building.
Yep.
A lot of the young kids that we've met who said, oh, I worked at Cambridge, and they've said, what have you done with the batch? And we said, we put a bulldozer through it, and they all clapped.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, so that was,
Wasn't a very nice place.
No.
no. Anyway, but a lot of history in that place, and a lot of great people went through it and came out the other side.
Yeah.
You know, so, but the horse buildings, building horse facilities isn't really rocket science. You know, you've got to build, but the modern barn is big and airy, high ceilings, lots of airspace and that sort of thing. And we've had lots of discussions about that. And hopefully it'll all get done next year, you know.
It's
It
exciting.
will be done.
It will.
Will be done.
Yes, I like this.
Well, in the space of 8 months, we've completely renovated 4 houses, and we've put 7 new houses on the property,
Goodness.
accommodation units, and of course we've started the hospitality and now the office.
Yep.
Um,
And then when the yearlings go to Karaka?
when the yearlings go to Karaka is when our major build starts.
Okay.
And we've got a timeline of 6 months.
Yep.
And everybody says it cannot be done. But I think we'll be living down here,
Yep.
and we'll be driving it from.
Pedal to the floor. Yeah.
Oh, look. One thing about coming to a place like Cambridge, their work ethic, and you know, good bunch of people down here.
Yep.
You know, I'm very confident we've got the right people around us.
Just, should we have a little walk and have a look at what you've got going on at the moment?
Yeah.
So this is going to be where people come not to view not for the stallions, more just to entertain?
Well,
or this...
it'll be stallions in the evenings.
Just really visitors
Emily.
to the farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be visitors
We
to
can
the
come in
farm,
if you
really.
want.
So we can basically bring them in, give them a cup of coffee, give them lunch, give them dinner, whatever they want, because hospitality on studs now is a very important part of what you do.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it's not just for clients, it's also for people who want to get involved with the stud. You know?
Yeah, come on, Louis. Lovely big space. Hang on.
Okay.
So, what's going to happen here is you'll be able to look out across to the new stallion barn,
Okay.
and you'll be able to sit here and look out across the lawn,
Oh, beautiful.
and then look out across the property.
Yeah. And that stallion barn will be different?
The stallion barn's getting demolished on the 20th of January,
Okay.
and the new stallion barn's going to go in. So, at the moment we've got 3 boxes in the stallion barn.
Yep.
We're building eight boxes.
Okay.
So obviously we're looking at having some more stallions.
More stallions, that
Yep.
leads on to
We
that.
need to fill them up. That's Henry's job.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll just fill the box.
Yeah, exactly. Once the foals have completed that handling process, what happens next with them?
We usually rehandle them again in March with my staff, and then they're weaned shortly after that. And then during the off season, they get mobbed up in different groups, and then we bring them in through the boxes every 6 weeks, and they get their feet done and they get drenched.
How do you decide how you mob them up?
Well, first of all, we mob by sex, so colts and fillies, and then a lot of the time we'll try and do it by size, especially if the size are quite dominant. They sort of have the same body type and same feed regime, so they come backwards and forwards and get educated, and then they come in for their prep usually around the end of September, early October, and then they're all separated. The fillies stay together, but the colts are all separated into their own yards, and they're into a full prep right through until January.
And what have you found are the benefits of using Foal NZ for your handling?
One of the best things I've found probably is gives the horses real confidence. Probably the only person that doesn't love it is my mother, because the foals get so friendly when she's out doing photographs. They're all over her, so you can't get away from them. But no, it's a real benefit. You know, that confidence they get, I think it carries right forward, right through their life.
We've heard you talk a lot about studies from Belgium and experience from America. How important is that, all that international information for your business?
Huge, because what it does is, you know, we're always trying to make the best horse. You know, how can we get every little foal, and just every single foal? Before we used to just do numbers in the field, and you know, some would come up better than others, but you know, it's really, you know, what's the best performance and welfare we can do for each individual horse, and like I said, on and off the track. So the more outside influences we can have, we can get all that information, bring it back to here. Windsor are amazing. We can trial it and see what works commercially in the field for us. I think we really understood early on is that, you know, we can learn all this stuff, but actually we never can really understand it until we start collecting data on it. And then once we start collecting data, then we have a better understanding of it. And I think, you know, worldwide there is a whole lot of things that we can learn. And for us, it was not only learning through that research, but just having access to all of those people.
When you talk about the number of foals and horses that you've dealt with, is there one that stands out as a favourite, or a graduate you're particularly proud of, or anything in particular?
I suppose, like every single graduate of ours, we're so proud of. And so, you know, we have our kind of Group 1 winners like it all, those ones that have gone on to be stallions like So You Think and Preferment and Jimmy Choo and those kind of horses. And it's fantastic that they've gone on to do that. But I suppose for us, you know, it's just the love of the mare and the foal, and just giving every horse the best education we can.
You've spoken a lot about the data you're receiving, the research that you're doing with these foals. Do you think at some point in the future that could maybe be used to help train the horses in a racing environment?
Yes, definitely. And that was kind of our first thing of taking notes, is what we wanted to do was pass on to the next lot of people so they had an understanding of those horses. So we think their initial reaction is always going to be their initial reaction. And
it's been quite an exciting time for Foal NZ, hasn't it? You've been doing some new things, including rebranding.
Yeah, so rebranding has been huge for me. I've actually found it to be a really, really difficult process, but it's all part of globalizing what we do. We had a company called the Design Factory, which is at Wintec, and some amazing students, and they've come in and looked at our business and worked out how we can globalize what we do. So they decided that equus education that we've had for 19 years is just too difficult, and so we are now Foal NZ, and then we hope to be like Foal Australia or Foal UK or Foal USA. So that's kind of where we're heading. So we'll continue on with our research that we're doing,
and then also we'll have an online course, maybe more towards kind of the sport horse industry. But for us, it's really taking that research and how we're fitting into those farms and how we can look at farms, training practices and just training staff.
Is there anything else that you're keen to develop within the business?
Yes, definitely. I think that, and especially for New Zealand, there's another side that we're really missing. We really deal with training behaviour, which is how the horses interact with us and is the foundation to all their work with people. But to be a racehorse, they need very strong social skills, and in New Zealand it's amazing. They're out in the paddocks 24 hours a day and they get to learn all those things. So it's an amazing, we're very fortunate that we do have that, but I think there's more that we need to understand in that. So that's a part, we're always looking at the edge, what's the best we can do, and I think that is a part that is a lot of developing we can do in New Zealand. And we know from wild horses that whatever that mare's position is within that herd is that gets passed on down to their foal. So for us, it's how those thoroughbred mares will position themselves as whatever kind of status that foal gets. So we think that that will really influence their racing career. And so they're out there 24 hours a day, so it's kind of like we should set it up to try, because it's this kind of the social skills, the running as a herd kind of thing that they need, which is the flip side of us. Doesn't matter how well behaved they are if they actually can't cope with lots of horses around them and to be able to race. So that's the other side we think is really important.
Your depth of knowledge is just incredible. Have you ever thought about going overseas and consulting other people on what you do?
Yes, no, definitely. It's the way we're heading. So that's the thing. We've been so fortunate to, one, have amazing people around us and have access to a whole lot of people and just a huge depth of knowledge. And so for us, we really want to share that knowledge. So that's definitely where we're heading. And we also, have a real responsibility to New Zealand, I think, as well. It's where we're Kiwi based. And I think for us as a country and as an industry going forward, it's about us all really working together. So we haven't got enough buyers within New Zealand. We're always going to look to overseas buyers, but we always want our horses to be the best that they can be. So I think, behaviour is part of that. And that's why I think as an industry, we've found some incredible things, and we would really love to share that with our industry internationally, but as well in New Zealand.
That's it for Season 7 of Kiwi Bred. Thank you to the farms who hosted us and to you at home for watching us. In the meantime, tune in next week for Kiwi Bred Road to Caracas special, 7:30 on Tuesday.